Stop, seriously. Put the phone down. Don't hit the checkout button for that $50 toy that Instagram says your child needs to have. And please don't save any more blog posts about how to be a perfect parent into that folder that you know perfectly well you will never open to read again. You are trying to buy peace of mind with those things. I understand. You want to do the best for your child. But let me tell you a slightly harsh truth. You are focusing on the wrong place. There are time bombs in raising toddlers that no one warns you about. It is not about choosing which diaper brand or sending your child to which school. It is those invisible behavioral patterns. If you miss them in these short first 3 years of life, the only golden period we have, you are not just raising a difficult child. You are signing a sentence for yourself in the next 5 to 10 years, spending your whole youth fixing emotional breakdowns, toxic habits that could have been prevented right from today. This video does not contain empty advice like just be patient. I will give you 11 practical science-based principles, things that truly shape who your child will become later. And I warn you in advance, pay close attention to lesson number 7. It will go completely against your intuition. It will flip what the crowd out there is doing, but it is the only thing saving your sanity. If you are ready to stop feeling guilty and start parenting with understanding, not fear, hit the subscribe button right now. We will dive deep into the issue immediately. In 2024, Harvard published a shocking study. They discovered that if you focus on these core areas, your child's ability to regulate emotions at age 7 will be nearly 70% better. 70%. That is a huge number. But look back at what you are doing. Are you losing sleep over trivial things that in 5 years no one will even remember? This video is not here to add more work for you. It is here to help you throw that burden of guilt out the window, so you can stop overthinking and start truly enjoying these short years before they slip through your fingers. Look at your web browsing history at 2 a.m. How to make a child stop crying? No tears sleep training? Best weaning menu? You are being surrounded. Books are piled high on the table. Podcasts are playing in the car. Those experts on social media with their perfect beach houses are telling you what you are doing wrong. Not to mention your mother-in-law, the neighbor lady, or the stranger at the supermarket who gives themselves the right to comment on how your child wears socks. You want to be a good mother. I know. You want to apply the right formula to get the right result. But here is the brutal truth. You apply the method praised by 1 million people, and your child still cries. Your family is stressed. You are exhausted, and you conclude, I have failed. I cannot do it. Stop. Listen closely to these words of mine. You have not failed. That method failed with your child. These two things are completely different. No book, no expert, including me, has ever met your child. No one knows if that cry means hunger or stomach pain. Only you know. No one knows if that frown means sleepiness or fear. Only you know. That is intuition. And in this world of parenting full of noise, intuition is the most accurate data that you have. If a method makes you feel wrong in your gut, throw it away. You have the right to fire an educational method. You have the right to say no to the advice of an expert if it turns your family's dinner into a battlefield. When you dare to believe in yourself, you will see a completely new pattern emerge. You will realize that your child is not intentionally making it hard for you. They are having difficulty. They are scared, and your calmness, not your perfection, is what pulls them out of that emotional storm. This is the manifesto for the first 3 years of your child's life. Take these things to heart. Connection is more important than perfection. Playing is serious work, not break time. Comparison is the thief of joy. Love never spoils a child. Screens are not poison. And boredom, that is the seed of genius. Do not let anyone tell you the opposite. Your intuition is the lighthouse. Now, take a deep breath. We will go into detail on each one. The second lesson often causes debate. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the iPad, the TV, or the glowing rectangle that you are trying to hide every time guests come over. I bet that every time you press the on button for your child to watch cartoons, your stomach tightens a little. The feeling of guilt rushes in. You feel like you are poisoning your child's brain minute by minute. You hear the voice echoing in your head. Lazy parents are the ones who use the TV to babysit their children. But what is the reality? You need 20 minutes to cook dinner without a 2-year-old child clinging tightly to your leg. You need to take a shower. You need to breathe. But the sensational headlines out there make you believe that 1 minute of screen time equals 1 minute of IQ decrease. Science does not say that the screen is the devil. Science talks about actionable use it. A study from MIT, yes, the prestigious Massachusetts Institute of Technology, has pointed out a concept called viewing. The problem does not lie in 15 minutes of watching Ms. Rachel or Bluey while you stir-fry vegetables. The problem is when the screen becomes a full-time nanny, completely replacing running, jumping, getting muddy, and real hugs. Therefore, here is the truth: to help you sleep well tonight, balance is more important than absolute abstinence. If the content is age-appropriate, good. If you occasionally chat about what your child watches, great. Don't let fear turn a useful tool into an enemy. Use it as a tool, do not use it as a substitute. The third lesson: take a deep breath, because this might make you uncomfortable. The most toxic behavior in parenting is not yelling or neglecting. It is parenting from fear. And fear always disguises itself under another fancy name, which is control. Why do you want to control every small behavior of your child? Why do you want to anticipate everything? Because you think that if you control, your child will not make mistakes. You are trying to minimize risk for a future that has not happened yet. In your head, a tape is always running, rewinding and replaying what-if questions. What if my child fails university? What if my child gets involved in drugs? What if my child has sex early? That list is endlessly long and it drains your energy. But let's look straight at the truth. Your real fear is not grades or behavior. The real fear is, what if I lose my child? What if my child destroys their own life and I stand by helplessly watching? When you parent with fear, you are squeezing your child tight just to soothe your own insecurity. You think you are keeping your child safe. No, you are just trying to control the uncontrollable so that your own fear does not become reality. The fourth lesson: put those flashcards away. Seriously, many of you are stuck in the productivity trap. You think that if your child does not learn letters or numbers at 2 years old, they will fall behind their peers. You feel guilty when seeing your child just playing without doing anything educational. But here is the truth that the American Academy of Pediatrics wants you to know. Play is not break time. It is a child's full-time job. When your child stacks wooden blocks on top of each other and then knocks them down, that is physics. When they make a doll talk to a truck, that is emotional intelligence and social skills. Don't turn your living room into a miniature classroom. When you sit down on the floor letting toy cars run around and laughing with your child, you are not being lazy at all. You are supporting your child's brain development exactly the way it needs. The fifth lesson will help you save 50% of energy every day. Stop explaining at length. I see this scene everywhere. A mother trying to explain the logic of blood sugar and cavities to a 2-year-old child screaming for candy. You think you are respecting your child, but actually, you are confusing your child. Toddlers are not miniature lawyers. They do not have the ability to process your complex arguments. The more you explain at length, the more loopholes you create for them to argue, and the battle begins. Saying no does not mean you are mean. Saying a decisive no means you are creating safe boundaries. Not now. Do not hit your friend, period. No negotiation. Children crave certainty. A short, calm, and consistent answer is the greatest gift you give for your child's safety. Lesson number 6. This is the time we tear up the perfect parent list. Sleep schedules accurate to the minute. Organic non-GMO meals. Expensive educational toys. You are exhausted from running after those standards. You read, you research, you compare, and finally, you still feel like a failure. But guess what? Neuroscience does not care if you feed your child organic vegetables or frozen pizza on Friday night. The only thing your child's brain cares about is mom happy? Am I safe? Children who form secure attachments before age 3 will manage stress better throughout the rest of their lives. That means you do not need to be perfect. A happy mother sitting and eating frozen food on the floor is 1 billion times better than a perfect mother standing and washing dishes with suppressed frustration. Your child will not remember if the house was clean or dirty. They will remember the look in your eyes when you smile at them. Connection is the shield protecting your child. Therefore, lower the standards and raise the presence. Lesson number 7. This is a hidden toxic behavior that you might not realize you are committing. Defensiveness. You know this type of person. No matter how gently you give feedback, they bristle up and attack you back. In marriage, this attitude leads to divorce. And in parenting, it leads to absolute disconnection. When your child tries to voice their feelings and you respond with sentences like, "We do everything for you and you are ungrateful," or "We are never good enough for you," then you are slamming the door of communication shut. You are telling your child that your ego is more important than your child's problem. Defensiveness turns you into a victim and makes your child feel guilty for speaking up. Truly strong parents are not afraid of being wrong. They know how to listen without resisting. They dare to look into their child's eyes and say, "I am sorry." If you find yourself always bristling when receiving feedback, find a way to change immediately. Even go to therapy, because the price to pay for your ego is the relationship with your children later on. Many parents feel they should enroll their children in enrichment programs to help them have an advantage, but the most beneficial thing is actually free play. That is the time the child's brain develops best. While playing, children often set for themselves appropriate challenges, neither too easy nor too difficult. Give your child time and space for free play. Let them unleash their creativity with the games that they want. Lesson number 9. The toxic behavior is giving advice. Sometimes we do that too much. I had an interesting experience with my daughter. She went through a really difficult period. This happened quite a while ago, but it lasted for a long time, perhaps more than a year, and this very experience caused her a lot of suffering. So, without revealing too many details, I just want to say that, as parents, we were very heartbroken witnessing her endure, and sometimes, honestly speaking, it felt almost unbearable to watch her suffer like that. The reason is because I did not have the answer. I didn't know how to help her, and even sometimes I didn't know what to say to her. Perhaps the most uncomfortable thing was that because I didn't have the answer or words to say, I felt very helpless. Anything I had said before did not help. One night things came to a head and she was very depressed. Normally, she is a very happy, positive child, full of energy and vitality. One night, things came to a head and she was very depressed, very broken down, and was in another city. She was in Reno and I was in Utah, and she was with her mother. We video called. She wanted to talk to me. She told me over video all the things happening to her that night, all the difficulties she was struggling with, and it was a heavy feeling, very heavy. And I was trying to think of what to say and what I could say to help her get through it. I didn't know what to say anymore. Nothing worked, and I was very frustrated. Honestly speaking, I was also a bit worried too. I remember at that time, everything was very heavy, and sometimes when it feels heavy, I try to inject a little humor. Gentle teasing is how I try to lighten the atmosphere, and the whole time she was talking, I kept wishing I could think of something to solve this problem. But I reminded myself of what I often tell other parents, that she doesn't need me to tell her what to do. I told myself to just listen to her. It is hard to listen when you are feeling worried, as I was. I really had to force myself to hold back my thoughts and keep them in, just listening to her. So, during the video calls, I spent a lot of time just listening to her and occasionally injecting a little humor into it. I wouldn't overdo it, just a little gentleness here and there, and then at some point, for some reason, she suddenly became more comfortable and you could notice an almost complete relaxation. It's hard to describe, but I could feel that she felt better after talking about some of these problems. It was at that moment that a few things I wanted to say to her popped into my head, but I think she wouldn't have been able to hear them earlier if I hadn't spent the time listening and connecting with her from the beginning. If I kept imposing advice, no matter how good that advice was, it wouldn't have had any effect. So, for you and all of us, when trying to help our children, when trying to guide them, much of that has to start with connecting, listening, and empathizing, sharing the pain with them. I think it's about suffering with them, and what happened that night was wonderful. Her mother called me after I spoke on the phone with my daughter, and she told me that the mood was much lighter and my daughter felt much better. Next time your child shares something painful with you, instead of telling them how to react or what to do, share the pain with them, listen and suffer with them. Lesson number 10 is something that parents often underestimate. Right from the very first days, you have taught your child how you want to be treated. If certain behaviors are allowed from a young age, just because the child is small or it seems harmless, then those habits will not naturally disappear later. A toddler hitting others without being corrected will learn that hitting is acceptable. A preschooler speaking disrespectfully without guidance will learn that tone does not matter. These habits will be harder to change when the child grows up. That does not mean harsh discipline. It means correcting calmly and immediately. When your child hits others, stop that behavior immediately. When they speak unkindly, encourage them to try again with respectful words. You are not being harsh. You are setting standards that help your child learn how to treat others well. Lesson number 11 might surprise you. Children benefit from feeling bored. Many parents rush to solve boredom as soon as their children complain by offering activities, toys, or screens to fill the silence. If every empty moment is filled for the child, they will never develop the ability of self-direction. So, when your child says, "I'm so bored," resist the urge to intervene. Instead, gently turn the question back to them. Ask what they can think of. That silence is where independence and creativity are nurtured. Finally, remember this well. It is not about perfect habits. It is not about turning yourself into a 24/7 entertainment machine. And certainly not about doing everything right in the books. The only thing remaining after all is your presence. It is the way you respond when your child cries. It is the trust you have in yourself. These early years of life will pass in the blink of an eye. Do not let anxiety steal them from your hands. Do not let yourself regret in 5 years that you spent too much time worrying about the wrong things instead of enjoying the right things. So, which lesson out of the 11 things above slapped you straight in the face today? Leave that number in the comment section below. I want to know what woke you up. You are not alone in this battle. And believe me, you are doing much better than you think.